Hey, long time no see. It's been a long time since I made a video. Last video I made was my Goodbye Korea video, and a lot has happened since that time. After I made that video, I came back to America, and I was unemployed for several months, trying and struggling to find a job. And then when I finally found one, the pandemic happened. So, things have been a little bit rough. We've been getting through it, surviving just fine. So I have a lot of regrets. I've made a lot of mistakes. During my last month in Korea, I wasted so much money. I had grown so used to having this disposable income that when I finally came back and was without that disposable income, it kind of hurt a lot. But in that time, I've learned a lot. And I want to share with you today the things I've learned and the things that I want to do with the future now with this new knowledge and new perspective that I've gained from being back in America. So, I want to first talk about something that inspires me. And maybe this will be a reoccurring theme in my videos. We'll see what happens. But I want to talk about a story that inspires me. As some of you might know, I love video games. That is my favorite medium to consume, even more so than movies, anime, TV. I'll take video games 9 times out of 10 over all those other things. I want to talk to you about a story, maybe just a character that inspires me. So let's take a look, shall we?
The Dragon Quest series is one of the most popular games in Japan and has been for a long time now. It's your standard fantasy RPG that features a gang of heroes who are trying to save the world from some form of evil or darkness. Now, this might be the most basic type of storytelling, but even in its basest form, it can still be inspiring. I'm going to be diving into spoilers for Dragon Quest XI Echoes of an Elusive Age. If you still care about that story and haven't experienced it yet, please turn away now. In the story of Dragon Quest XI, all life on Earth was given birth to by Yggdrasil, the World Tree, and one person was especially chosen to be the savior. The hero of Dragon Quest XI, also known as just 11, was born out of tragedy. The Luminary lost his family, his home, everything while he was just born. He grew up in a regular village even though he was supposed to be royalty. The Luminary was forced to grow up in a regular village surrounded by ordinary people like you and me. But of course, as the Luminary, the chosen one, his life wouldn't stay ordinary for long. He leaves the village and begins his journey and finds out that he must stop evil that's going to take over the world. Along the way, he meets many people and friends who are willing to support his cause and follow him to the very end. He helps many villages along the way, people who are in desperate need of help from anyone, anything that could save them from their dire situations. The world learns that the Luminary is there, that the Luminary is giving them hope. As Yggdrasil's chosen, Luminary is a beacon of light to the rest of the world. Everyone looks to him for hope. They know that he'll be there to save them when they need him most. That is until disaster strikes, of course.
This is the power of the Luminary. The key that unlocks Yggdrasil's heart. And this blade is the fabled Sword of Light. Not very fitting for the Lord. mighty Yggdrasil, source of all life. Yield your power to me!
Yggdrasil falls, the world will...
In order to stop the evil that was trying to take over the world, the hero had to reach Yggdrasil and inside of it take the sword that only he could wield, the Sword of Light, chosen to stop the darkness. Just as the hero and his friends were about to reach the Sword of Light, they were ambushed and overpowered by the dark foes that they sought to destroy. The Sword of Light became corrupted, the World Tree withered, and the heroes found themselves in the worst imaginable situation. One of them, in fact, sacrificed themselves to save the others. The hero was lost, and the world was covered in darkness. With the luminary disappearing, all the people whose lives he had touched during his journey began to lose hope. Monsters scoured the world. Humanity was on the brink of extinction, and with no luminary to save them, what hope could they have? However, just because the world had given up doesn't mean the hero did. After being separated from his friends and most of civilization for a while, the hero found his way back to his hometown. Even though the world had been destroyed, humanity was still fighting for its own survival. But with the hero, the luminary, back at their side now, they were ready to take the world back. Setting out on his journey once again, the hero traveled to reunite with his friends and save the towns he already helped once before. As he reunited with each ally, he saw that they all felt disgraced from their failure to prevent the world from ending. They each set out in their own ways to become stronger so that they could bring things back to normal. They learned from their mistakes and became stronger for it. After traveling the world once more and helping familiar faces again, the hero and his friends finally confronted the dark foe that had plagued this world, and they were victorious. Though the villain had been defeated, the world was still scarred by what had happened. Many people had died, many villages were destroyed. The world would never be the same as it was before, and they had to live with that. Or so one would think. The heroes found a way to undo the past. They found a way to fix their mistakes, undo everything that had happened. And that's where my inspiration for this story comes from. It didn't matter that the heroes had failed. It didn't matter that the Sword of Light was corrupted. It didn't matter that the World Tree fell, and it didn't matter that humanity was brought to its knees. The hero never gave up hope. He kept pushing forward. He never stopped, no matter what. He always helped those that were in need. He was a beacon, a shining light to help those in need and save the world, as was his chosen duty. Even when the odds were completely stacked against him, even when it looked like all hope was lost, he continued moving forward. He never gave up. That's where I try to draw parallels to our current world right now. Even though we're in the midst of a great pandemic, we can't give up. If we stop moving, if we stop trying, if we think all is lost, we will fail. Just because we made a mistake, or just because we messed up on something we thought was going to go so well, doesn't mean that it's over. As long as we keep pushing, we can change things, we can fix our mistakes, we can change the past. That is why the ideal of the hero is so inspiring to me. You know, it can be difficult, life can be so difficult. I mean, it's never as difficult as watching the world actually end and having to save it yourself, but you can still learn from these actions. As simple as a hero can be, even if it's literally just the luminary Christ figure stopping the darkness. These tales exist for a reason. They're still inspiring in some way. So I hope that after hearing this story and hearing why the hero is inspiring to me, it might inspire you as well to push forward and never give up.
So now that we've looked at this story that's inspiring to me, and maybe it can inspire you in some ways, I want to talk about now my plan to save the future. To save the future in the same way that the hero saves his world, I want to save my own world and maybe inspire some of you to save your worlds as well. So, being without that disposable income I told you about, it forced me to be a lot more frugal. I stopped spending money on anything that wasn't food or any necessities, any bills. The only thing I was spending money on at certain points was just food. And in some cases, a video game here or there. Gaming can be an expensive hobby, but since I know what I like, I'm able to pick and choose the games I want to play. So I don't usually end up spending too much money on video games. But aside from that, I learned how to cook. I've been cooking a lot of different things, and $10 on grocery store ingredients can go a long way compared to $10 on one meal you get delivered to you. So that's just probably the best way you can possibly save money, than cutting out any unnecessary spending that you don't need. When I was in Korea, I realized that I had so many of these subscriptions while I was living over there that were still in America, that were draining my bank account. And eventually I got to a point where I was like, I don't need any of these subscriptions. I'm not using any of these services enough to justify needing to keep these subscriptions going, as they were just draining my bank account and eventually making me overdraft and making me lose even more money. So I cut out almost all my subscriptions. The only subscription I have right now is Crunchyroll to watch my anime. That's because I watch anime every single week. I even cut out my Netflix subscription up until recently, where we had this pandemic and I started watching a lot more shows. So you see, you have to make sure you keep track and even just jot down all your subscriptions so you see how much money you're losing every month. Keep track of that stuff. It'll make a huge difference. So now I want to talk about investing. I started investing at the beginning of this year when I was looking at different threads of normal people asking rich people how they got rich. They were all saying the same things. Be frugal, invest, and make your money work for you. The third one, make your money work for you, honestly, that one really spoke to me, because I was thinking, yeah, if my money can make more money for me, doesn't that make too much sense? If I don't have to work for my money and I can just get paid just to do nothing but make sure that my money is doing the work, I mean, come on, it's almost a steal at that point. So I started investing through Robinhood. Let's take a look at my portfolio. So as you can see, I started investing on January the 26th. And since then, I have invested $800 out of pocket. My plan with investing is to develop enough dividend income so I can retire and just get paid to sleep. That is my end goal with investing right now. Some of you might not know too much about investing, and I certainly didn't up until a couple months ago. So let's talk. What are stocks? When you purchase a stock for a company, you're purchasing ownership of a small little piece of that company. So if I purchase a stock of Disney, I'm purchasing one small piece of ownership of the Disney company. Dividends are payments that the company makes to any stock owners. So if I own a share of Disney, then Disney's going to pay me a stock, and they either pay stocks monthly, quarterly, or biannually, depending on the company. And the amount of dividends you get depends on the yield and what the company decides they want to pay out to their shareholders. So I know what you're thinking. Wow, you can just get paid to just own stocks. Well, it's not that much, but over time, if you keep buying stocks, eventually you're going to have enough passive income to retire early. And I'll show you my plan. So if we look at, for example, before we look at my portfolio, if we look at SPYD, is that SPYD? No, that's SPHD. I own 3 shares of SPHD, and so far, since I've owned them on March the 20th, I have received 94 cents worth of dividends from them. And so, as you can see, this is a company that pays monthly. They pay a decent amount of money. I mean, 47 cents per payment isn't that much, but what if I owned, instead of 3 shares, I own 20? Well, I'm going to be getting multiple dollars worth of value from that. Now let's look at my stock portfolio. With my combination of all the stocks that I've owned, since January, I have made $2.70 from my dividends. And as you can see, that's not quite enough to pay back for the money I've invested out of pocket, but you have to think of it this way. If I were to keep buying stocks and keep getting dividends, eventually I'm going to have enough dividend income that it's to the point where my dividends are paying for more stocks. And once I can stop investing money out of pocket, it all goes uphill from there. So it's an exponential growth as my dividends start to pay for my stocks, or if I even decide to keep investing my own money into it, the growth in the amount of money I'm going to get is going to get faster and faster and faster. And so I'll be able to finally start profiting from these dividends and start earning passive income. If you look at the second folder of my stock portfolio, it shows all the stocks I've put into this Excel sheet. It shows you the name of the stock, how much I bought each share for, how many shares I own. But also it shows, if we look to the side here, I've calculated the income I'm making monthly, I've calculated my quarterly income, and I've calculated biannual income. So some companies, as I said, only pay every month, some pay only every 3 months, and some pay every 6 months. Depends on the company. And so, as you can see, my current expected annual income is about $34. My goal to retire is $24,000. And that is a long ways away, but if we purchase enough stocks, we'll get there eventually, right? So that is the end goal, $24,000 in a year, about $2,000 of dividend payouts per month. And now some people may be wondering, well, Julian, aren't there risks with stocks? What if the stock market crashes? Well, companies, as I've learned, are not very willing to cut their dividends. They want to keep their dividend payouts the same as much as possible. The only time they're going to cut their dividends is if, well, like we are now, if the stock market crashes and a bunch of companies are going out of business. I noticed one of my shares, I was getting about 16 cents per share from one stock, and then it was cut down to like 14 cents, which that's not too bad. And if I look at a prime example, there's a YouTuber who I follow who talks about his dividend income. He, back in April, when everything really started to go downhill, he made more money this year from dividends than he made last year. And that's because he was consistently investing. He kept consistently investing, even whether the market was good or the market was bad. Consistent investments, because it showed even if the stock market crashes and some of his dividends got cut, he had built such a large portfolio and he kept investing that it didn't matter too much. He was still making a lot of money from his dividends. It would matter more if he was the type to sell any stocks that had grown over the years, but since he wasn't trying to sell, he was just trying to hold these stocks, he was able to profit more from that. And so that's how we reduce the risk, is by consistently investing. And the other way I'm going to reduce the risk is by dividing up my payments in each sector. The other way to reduce risk is to make sure you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. If you want to buy multiple of one stock, don't buy more than 20 to 60 of that one stock. Spread yourself thin. If you want to invest in certain sectors, there are 11 total sectors. If we check my pie chart here, there are 11 sectors. I haven't invested in all of them yet, but don't put more than about 25% of your money into one sector, because as we've seen, some sectors during this pandemic have certainly crashed, but things like consumer staples, things like Walmart or Publix, they are soaring right now because everyone's only buying the necessities, groceries and food and whatnot. So don't put all your eggs in one basket and be consistent. That is the plan. If I can be consistent, if I can keep investing at least a couple $100, if you can afford that, you can invest less. Every month, keep investing. Eventually you'll get to a point where you're making so much passive income that you don't even have to worry about working or lifting a finger ever again. Imagine waking up one day and realizing you got paid like $200 just for sleeping. That's incredible. I want to be at that point. I've been investing thanks to Robinhood. When you sign up for them, they give you a free stock, which is awesome. And for anyone who uses my link to sign up, if you sign up for Robinhood through me, you'll get an extra free stock and I will get a free stock. So everyone wins. If I've encouraged you to start investing, I encourage you to use my link to sign up. Maybe we can talk about investing together. That's pretty much my plan. Seek happiness, invest all my money, and build a future where I no longer have to work and suffer. It's been rough these past several months, but things are only going to get better from here. And now, of course, is the prime time to start investing. Stocks haven't been this low in years. We've been set back several years thanks to this pandemic, but I believe now would be the best time if you want to get rich, okay? I usually don't care about money, but that's just the world we live in. I think money is very destructive just because the things that people will do just to get it, and how its existence really can destroy the lives of the people who don't have it. This is my plan to save the future. I'm no hero from an RPG. I don't have the strength or power that Dragon Quest XI hero has, but I can learn from him. Even though he failed in the beginning, even though he lost a lot of things that were important to him, he was able to move forward, stop the bad guy, fix everything that happened, save the people closest to him. And you can make the difference. You can learn from your mistakes, come back stronger, even when all hope seems lost. So that is it for today. I don't know if this will be my last video before I go back to Korea, but I hope to hear back from some of you guys. I hope that everyone is doing well and is healthy during everything that's going on. I hope your families are safe and healthy. If you have questions about how I'm investing, anything further about investing, I'm more than happy to talk with some of you guys or answer comments and questions. If you want to invest with me and follow me, maybe I can make more videos about investing or something along those lines. I know I'm still a newbie, but I'm doing my best, and you guys have seen I'm keeping track of everything that's going on, so it's not just something I'm promoting just to promote. I'm really deep into this, and I've learned a lot over the past couple of months on how to make money through investments. So that'll be it, and hopefully I'll see you all soon. Take care.